All right. So first of all, my info again, for a lot of you, you've seen this a few times, but I'm Christine Kerner. I'm the director of secondary mathematics, currently acting as pre-K through 12 director, and continuing to do that. And so if you have any questions, please continue to reach out through email. I promise you I'm getting to all of your emails. We finally have gotten a little bit calmer, so I'm working on responding to all the emails in the next couple days. Or you can tweet at me, or you can go to the OK Math Facebook group and you can connect with me there. I've been trying to monitor that group and see where people are asking questions, posting resources, things like that. So I am trying to stay connected wherever I can. I have a little poll for you. So I'd like to know how you're feeling right now. And so I'm going to launch the poll. And if you can see my screen, then you can see 4 different memes, and I've labeled them 1, 2, 3, or 4. And so select the one or the couple that fit your mood right now. I know it's a lot of movement all at once, but try to just focus on one at a time. Just a piece of one at a time. All right, I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so here were our results. And so a lot of us are thinking, fingers crossed, like we can maybe do this, we got this. You know, you've had a couple days in now, and I'm sure things have gone crazy and wrong and awesome as well. And so we'll get a chance to talk a little bit about our trials and celebrations in a little bit. But I also see a lot of 3s, which, yes, whether it's apple juice or something else, I can definitely identify with that. And then we still have a little bit of happiness, but we need to maybe like get some self-care, do some things to get us a little bit bumped up more into the happy zone, and then some exhaustion happening too with number 2. I definitely have felt that a couple times in the past couple weeks. I've actually felt all of those emotions in the past couple weeks or past couple hours, depending on what we're being asked to do. So can definitely relate to that. This is just something I saw that quite a few people use the Menti from last week. I did a Menti, and if you aren't familiar with Menti, you can go to mentimeter.com, and it's basically a poll website where you can generate word clouds, and you can generate graphs. And so a lot of people were using those with their students, where they just asked, how are you feeling? What's your biggest concern? Things like that, with the Menti, and it was generating word clouds that helped get student responses. So that's a really easy way to ease into the social emotional conversations with your students if you're touching base. This slide here, all I did was search different emotions. So like I searched happy and then GIF or GIF if you decide that it's pronounced GIF, but I say GIF. So I would search happy, GIF, and then a whole bunch pop up. You just save the image as a GIF image and you can insert it into your slide. So I just did 4 different emotions. You can probably guess somewhat which 4 emotions I used for these, but then put them into a slide, added the 1, 2, 3, 4 with text boxes, and then we were good to go. So this is something, if you wanted to even, you probably couldn't steal number 3, but if you wanted to steal the other ones for your students, you could use those to ask your students questions too. And for the poll, Bree, I see your question in the chat. What I did was in your Zoom meeting setup, when you're setting up the actual scheduled meeting, there's a place down at the bottom for polls. And so then you can create as many questions as you want. It will ask it in a series though. So like if you have 2 questions, it'll ask you the first question of your kids, you can share the results, and then it'll ask the second question right away. It won't do it whenever you decide. But I like the poll just for quick things like this. I like it when I'm trying to get a little bit more information, if you're quizzing them for specific word responses, multi-select, things like that. That's always a nice go-to. Or you can use participant buttons, which all of you in the participant section of your Zoom should have yes, no, go slower, go faster, a little coffee cup, things like that. So I've used those with students and with groups before for those easier, quick questions for formative check-ins. So either way. All right. I'll get off this motion now because sometimes it can stress you out more than it's fun. Reminder, self-care. Please take care of yourselves. I'm sure you've been going and going and going and going ever since the announcement on the 25th that you were going to have to do some remote learning. Please take a breath and take some time for you. I'm sure many of you have kids in the house, spouses in the house, other people in the house that are maybe driving you crazy. Even if it's just shutting the door for a few moments and just breathing and taking some time for you, do it. Make sure that you take some time for you and do something that you enjoy. I sent this through my newsletter announcement for these office hours sessions, but I did a spirograph drawing. So spirograph kits, they're like super cheap, but I have done these with math teacher circles before. And so I had this lying around because I'm really cool like that. And so this was my relaxation activity the other day, was just playing around with the different wheels and spirals and drawings. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but as long as you just take that moment for some Zen you time, that's going to be key to staying sane through all these crazy times. I included a link to the online spirograph, and I'll share these slides with you all. There's an online version of the spirograph so you can play, and then you don't get messed up lines, which is kind of nice too. It does it for you, all pretty. Okay, and so why we're here today, we're really focusing on not only introducing some of the new resources that we have available with the Curriculum and Instruction Department, but also a chance for you to kind of decompress a little bit, reflect on what's been working so far, what has been tough for you as you're going through this distance learning concept, and where I can support you going further. And so those are kind of our goals for today. And so I wanted to put these big and bold on your slides because these 2 places are really going to serve as hubs for all of the information that OSDE puts out. And I say that because even though each individual department also has pages that they're putting out COVID-19 guidance on, what I tried to do on the math site was pull all those together and have links for every single one all on the math page, so that for our math teachers, you could go to one place and have access to then launch into other areas. And so whether or not you go to the sde.ok.gov/mathematics or the sde.ok.gov/COVID-19-instruction-support, this is the only one I can remember. That's why I use the mathematics one all the time. You're going to be able to access some of our new resources. So if you'd like to follow along with me, you can. Otherwise, I am going to share the screen also. So either way, whether you want to follow along or not is fine. I am going to start by going to the SDE math website, just so you can kind of see what that looks like. So here we go. All right, hopefully we are all seeing. Oh, where did everybody go? My Zoom likes to play tricks on me, so I apologize. Here we go. Okay, can everybody see the math webpage at this point? All right, I'm seeing some thumbs up. Awesome. So when you get to sde.ok.gov/mathematics, you instantly will see the general guidance that OSDE has been putting out for some time. The reason why I'm not taking each individual document that people are producing is because they get updated so quickly. So rather than uploading the documents and having them go out of date, I'm giving you access to where you can go to find each thing. And so the Oklahoma Resources for Distance Learning is a big long page full of everything that you would want from OSDE, but it's a little overwhelming if you first just look at it. And so it is a source that if you can't find it somewhere like on our math page or on our instructional support page, you might want to go to that site, but it is a lot of information. The curriculum and instruction support page has been recently revamped, and so I'll show you that in just a minute. We also have counseling office support. So this actually has social emotional resources for students, families, and teachers. And it provides some information about how to best support students' mental health during this time. And so that has some great resources for the social emotional aspect of this entire situation. Special education support provides not only guidance for federal laws and requirements, but it also provides some ways for reaching students with special needs. And so you can go there. And then this is actually just a document at this time. It's pulled from the counseling office page, but it's about engaging families to support distance learning. So this is a 2-page document that just really goes into some general guidance on how we can best support families in this time. For math, because that's the fun part, for math resources, we have a whole lot going on, as always. And so I have links to the guidance documents, again, because they're getting updated pretty regularly. The request was that they be shuffled just to the curriculum and instruction guidance page, so that's why I have it linked there. I have my office hours linked, and then there's the Zoom link on the C&I page. There's ongoing math meetings. So if you click on that, it takes you to all of the details about these meetings, different resources, and then it'll have a summary of what happened during each meeting, as well as the conversations from the chat and things like that. I pull the resources and guides from there. And then we also have the original meeting slides and agendas. So if you missed the very first virtual meeting, that's all there too. What I am excited about is brand new on this page is we now have upcoming webinars for professional learning listed. And so what I've done is every webinar that people are sending at me or are being posted on OK Math website or NCTM is announcing, all of those things, those are all great resources, but they're being spread out in multiple locations. And so what I did was I took all of what I felt like were the relevant ones that I have seen, and I put them on this Google Calendar that's embedded into the SDE Math website. And so if you have some time tomorrow, you can see that there's a webinar from 11 to 12 called Family Brain Breaks Sleep, which I'm planning on attending because it's supposed to be helping you sleep during this time. So that will be interesting. And then there's also a 5 practices book study, and there's Orchestrating Productive Mathematics by Peg Smith, who is the author of that book and discussion. And that's part of the NCTM 100 Days of PD. All of these are free. All of these include the registration links. And so all you have to do is go to the calendar, click on the registration link, and sign up. And so that's something that, even though we have a lot going on, there's some really cool, interesting topics happening in the next few weeks. And so if you have the time and just want something for you and something math nerdy or wellness nerdy for yourself, these are the places to go to get those things. I tried to include what grade levels are being served, whether it's for educators, families, combination, things like that, but I tried to put everything there. All right, and then now we have the curriculum and instruction support guidance. So again, that is the second link here on the math page, or you can go straight to it with that second link I gave, the COVID-19-instruction-support. And we're kind of excited about this because we have put a whole lot of extra stuff on here. And so you may have seen the guidance documents already, especially for secondary mathematics, but there's also elementary level guidance. And so I've included those in the past couple newsletters, but they're also listed here. But what is brand new is distance learning tasks database. And yes, Bree, this is on the OSDE math website. So yeah. And so the distance learning tasks database, brand new. What it does is it has several hundred activities, no tech, low tech, or high tech, that can be used by teachers or even by families. And you can get access to either a hyperlink that shows you where the activity is, or we've attached actual files. We've started by grouping it by subject area. And so if we scroll down, or if we click on these little arrows, it collapses. But math, we have 48 activities already uploaded. Right now, only OSDE/me has updated the database, but we have an opportunity for everyone to submit activities. If you have a really great activity that worked really well for distance learning and you want to submit it, we have a space for you to do that, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But if you'll notice, we have student activity. So that just means what the student is actually seeing, instructions for them, everything else. We have the grade band, main subject area focus, and if there's another subject area that works or subject areas that work, we have that too. Whether it's high tech, low tech, or no tech. Any teacher prep that's required for the activity, the learning goal for the activity, whether it's free or costs money, who submitted it, and thank you, Laura, for submitting your Tahlequah menus, because I stole them and put them on here. And then if you need to contact someone, the person who submitted the activity has their email listed so that you can email them and ask them follow-up questions about it. You can sort these And what I would recommend doing is scroll down just to where it says view larger version, because then guess what? You can see a larger version. It's awesome. And then you can filter and group it. So if you only want to see the math stuff, add a filter. And then you can select your main subject area focus is going to be math. And then all just math resources comes up. If you're a 6th grade teacher, we already have the math filtered out, and you just want to see 6 through 8, you select 6 through 8, and all the activities that have a 6 through 8 pop up, and you can see all that. You can double click, maybe, or hit the little blue button, I should say, and it'll expand the directions for you, and you can see it a little bit better. Or if you expand it on this side, you can see the full page listed. And so this is a little bit nicer view so that you can see everything that's required. So like this one doesn't have a file attachment or hyperlink, but it just has the actual student activity there that they're going to do. And whether there's technology, what the cost is, and who to contact. We also have, let's show you one of these. So this, Corwin gave me permission to publish these on our database. And so this is an example of, there's file attachments. So there isn't just straightforward student directions because there's file attachments. You can click on the file attachment and see what's there. So these are several rich math tasks for 6th grade. And you can download it or just exit out if it ends up not being what you want. And then we also have a hyperlink because Corwin asked me to link in where the original source is. So we got a hyperlink for that. And then we have all of the details and what's going on. I also have learning goals listed, and then the contact info. So all of these activities are free and available to you through that instructional support website. You can search by grade level. You can group it by grade level if you don't want it by main subject area and you'd rather have it by grade band. You can search that way and it'll show you every single pre-K resource, every single pre-K grade 1, 2 resource. There's a lot of ways you can go about that. And so then if you need extra help navigating this, there's a tutorial document. It kind of guides you through all the buttons and ways to go about it. There's also a resource database. So this is all just activities that you can just pick and use right away. If you're looking for more of a database, something like Desmos or Khan Academy or things like that, you can click on the database. And then we have, again, by subject area, and we have, nope, I think someone linked it wrong. Oops. I'll get that link fixed because it's supposed to be actual databases, and so it'll link grade levels and which suggested activities and things like that. So that's not linked correctly right now. I will make sure that gets fixed. So I apologize for that and for not checking that before I showed it off to you. Okay, so if you have documents that could be added, let me go back. Then you can, should be right below the table, Oh, this is where it is. Okay. You're going to go to the want to share a lesson, activity, or link to another database. And so when you do that, you'll click submit your ideas here. And it's a pretty simple, straightforward form. But there is guidance if you need support with that in the guidance document I mentioned earlier. But it just asks you to fill out some information. You don't have to fill out your name and email, but we would appreciate you doing so, so that if somebody had a question about the resource, they could email you. And then there's options for attaching the files, inserting the hyperlinks, all of that. And once they're submitted, then we have some OSDE members that review it, just check it for grammatical correctness and redundancies and things like that. And then we'll send it live within a few days of receiving it. Here is where the databases should be, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm Alexis from, yeah. Okay. So, for example, I've uploaded the entire math sample learning menu that you may have seen before. That's included here as a resource database. But also, we have Desmos, we have Open Middle, which is a problem set series that I showed a couple, like I think the first meeting, some examples of Open Middle. We have Which One Doesn't Belong. We have a whole lot of problem data banks here as well. So that's another option if you're ready to dive in further than single get an activity and grab and go. All right, I have talked at you for way too long, but I hope that it's useful going through some of these resources and activities to kind of see how it is. I also wanted to add that we have the video conferencing and digital instruction guidance and support listed as well. So if you're doing Zoom or Google Hangout or any of those video conferencing tools, this has some guidance for how to follow the FERPA laws and how to get set up and get going. There's also some digital tools and tips, documents and guidance. So for example, if you're interested in learning more about Flipgrid or hearing tutorials about Zoom or Google Classroom or things like that, we have some tutorials listed in that document guidance. In addition, we have the OETA announcement here with the TV lineup and the activities and how to get access to those for your PBS station. And then we also have all of the office hours for these virtual meetings listed. So that's all there. And then we also have all of the initial meetings listed. So we have everything there. But I know that sometimes this can seem like a lot all at once. And so in an effort to streamline, I have the relevant math stuff that you might want pulled out. But I also wanted to link this in curriculum and instruction resource because I think it's a really valuable resource for the instructional database and whatnot. So we have 17 people in the chat. And so I know some of you have been asking questions in the actual chat box. If you have a question and would like to unmic yourself, you can. Just be cautious if we're talking over each other. But you have the opportunity to unmute yourself at this time or to ask your question in the chat. I talked at you enough, I guess. All right. Well then, at this point, I'd like to give you an opportunity to share a little bit about how it's been going so far in your distance learning expeditions. And so we're going to go into breakout session.